First and foremost, I want to thank God for allowing me to get through this fight. I want to thank Team Bradley. I want to thank my family, my wife and kids. I want to thank Top Rank. I want to thank my manager, Cameron Duncan. I want to thank HBO, pay-per-view. I want to thank the MGM for allowing me to come back here and do something that I've always dreamed of since I was a little kid. Pacquiao is a tough warrior. This guy can punch. This guy has speed. He has everything, all the tools. I injured my left foot in the second round. I twisted my ankle. Both of my ankles are actually swollen. Got hit with some big shots early on, but you know, I persevered, went through the pain, and used my boxing ability towards the end to clear some rounds, maybe the last 5 rounds, I feel, to win the victory. I want to thank all the fans that came out to see the fight. But I'm still shocked. I really don't know what to say. But I'm happy. I'm the new welterweight champion. My team and I, we did it, baby. And I told you that we was gonna shock the world. And I definitely would like to do this again. You know, I heard the boos at the end of the night. Yeah, you know, which is okay. But we need to definitely do this again in November. And you know, let's make it more decisive for everybody. Love you guys too.
Tim,
any questions?
Tim, over here to your left.
Yeah. That's right. That's right, family.
First of all, Tim, congratulations on your win. Now, how did you hurt your ankles?
You know what? I think I might have stepped on the judges. I mean the refs. The refs. I think his foot. You know, in the second round, kind of twisted my ankle. I felt a pop. You know, on the top part of my foot. Went back to my corner. I told him. I said, "Man, I might have. I think I broke my foot." You know, my corner told me. They said, "Well, what do you want to do? Do you want to quit, or what do you want to do?" And I said, "Well, we're gonna keep going." I caught my second win around the 6th. I felt a little tired, fatigued. Set in, you know, 4th, 5th, and 6th. You know, I caught my second win, and then I felt like I was carrying the fight, using my jab. You know, making Pacquiao miss a lot. You know, he stung me a couple of times in there, but you know, for the most part, a lot of the shots that he was throwing was missing.
It seemed in the first half of the fight you were staggered a couple of times, but not in the second half. Was that because of any kind of adjustment that you made at all? Yeah,
you know what? It's just my balance. My balance was off. The ring was kind of spongy. My balance was a little bit off, trying to elude a lot of his strong shots. That left hand is very powerful. But once I got, you know, started moving laterally, using my jab, you know, it started to get a little bit easy. But I still had to be careful because Manny was just, you know, he came on strong in spurts.
And I guess the question there then, Tim, would be, Manny landed 100 more punches. He landed, I think, 34 to 19% connect rate. And I know you can't go by the punch stats. Were you confident? Did you feel when the final bell rang that you had won the fight and would get the decision? A lot of the talk in the pre-fight, people were asking you, can you win a decision in Vegas over Manny Pacquiao? Were you confident?
Yeah, I told you I can. I was going into the last round. My corner was telling me that I was, you know, I have to win the last couple of rounds to win the fight. Plain and simple. You know, my corner felt like I was winning the fight. I was controlling the action. I was using my jab. Manny, like I said, fought in spurts. Regardless of the punch stat or whatever. I mean, like I said, he missed a lot of shots in there. A lot of shots that, you know, everybody thought that he was hitting me with. He wasn't touching me. You know, you can look at my face. You know, I'm still pretty clean. You know what I mean? You know, he caught me, stung me a couple of times. You know, I'll be honest. You know, but you know, for the most part, I just kept my composure and I used my jab and my movement, and you know, I was popping them from outside all night. Thank you,
Tim. Prior to this fight, you said that Kendall Holt was the hardest puncher you had ever fought. How would you compare Manny's power, and how would you compare his speed to the other opponents you fought in the past?
He was fast, but it wasn't nothing like blazing fast. The thing that I like about Manny is that he can put his punches together like hard shots. you know, 3s and 4s, and they're all hard shots. You know what I mean? I've never been in a ring where somebody can, you know, throw, you know, 6 punches and all of them extremely hard. You know, this guy is very gifted. He places shots very well. You know, uppercut, you know, he went around, stepped to the side, right hand. I mean, he's very quick in there, very smart in there, you know, a lot smarter than I thought, you know, he would be. But, you know, just, you know, movement, I think movement, you know, he's more of an action fighter, or more of a warrior fighter. He want me to stand right in front of him and trade with him. But, you know, every now and then I would, and you know, I'll get stung in there. But then when I get back on the outside and use my jab, I control the action.
Tim, what was we understand there was an exchange between you and Joe after the second round about your ankle, that we understand that maybe Joe gave you an option. Do you want to, and I guess Joe, you can weigh in on this, that Joe gave you an option of continuing, and you elected to continue. Can you privy us to what that conversation was about?
Yeah, absolutely. I just said, man, I think I broke my ankle or my foot. You know, I felt a pop at the top of my foot, and he just said, what do you want to do? You're in the fight of your life. You want to quit? And I said, no, we're going to have to go through it. You know, that's why probably towards the middle of the rounds, I was a little flat-footed. I stood in front of Manny, and that's when Manny came on. You know, but then I just sucked it up and just kept moving, and I was able to land some shots.
Right here, Tim.
Tim, the overwhelming majority of the media on hand here had you not only losing the fight, but losing by a very wide margin. That's the overwhelming. I mean, every poll here of everybody that's taken to this show. Is that going to lessen the joy that you're going to get out of this night? Is it going to take the edge out of the fact that almost nobody there are very few people in here think that not even was it did you win, but that it was even close?
Well, you know what, the funny part is there's 3 judges out there.
That's it, baby.
And
That's right. That's it, baby.
That's the way they judge it.
That's right.
So, I mean, what do you want me to do? You know what I mean? That's the way they judged it. My corner felt we was winning the fight. You know, I was controlling the action, but like I said, you know, there was 3 judges out there. 2 of them felt that I won the fight, and that's all I can say on that. You know what I mean? But we definitely got to do it again. I definitely got to go back to the drawing board. I know where my mistakes were in the fight, and I just got to go back and correct them. I should have an easier night.
Tim, over here. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I think you did very well for yourself, in spite of what people might say. Throughout the bout, you were getting hit with some solid shots. Did you feel those shots?
Oh yeah, I felt the shots, but you know, I'm in really good shape. I didn't go down. You know, most of the opponents that he faced go down or get hurt. But you know, I got hurt, you know, once in there where I had to hold. You know, he came with a barrage of punches, and but you know, I survived, man.
Your conditioning paid off.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How did the foot, Tim, affect the way you wanted to fight? I mean, what did you do differently because you lost some mobility?
Man, I had to just try to step around, you know, and I felt the pain in my foot, but you know, I just had to block it out and just keep, you know, just keep fighting and just fighting through it.
Is it on the outside or the top of your foot?
I got one injury on the top part of the foot where I felt the pop here, and then I have another injury here where it's completely swollen on the side right there on my right foot.
So do you know, it seemed like Manny was coming forward so much, even though you were firing at him, like almost like he felt like the power wasn't an issue there. Do you think you couldn't sit down on your punches, and did that affect your punching power that you might have had?
He just kept his hands up really high. You know, he kept his hands up really high. He blocked his body very well. Like I said, he was very schooled, very schooled. You know, he kept his hands up. You know, he kept trying to get me to fight him. You know, open me up and try to catch me the big shots and knock me out.
And then the last thing I wanted to ask you is, did you feel, I heard your corner screaming at you, throw the jab, and it seemed like, you know, a lot of times you were going away from the jab. You were going to the body good, but weren't throwing a lot of jabs. Did you feel like when you started throwing it in the 7th round that made a difference in what happened?
Yeah, absolutely. When I started throwing it after the 7th round, you know, like I said, I was controlling the action. You know, Manny couldn't get off like he wanted to. You know, he'd come in with the left, and I'll make him miss. But the jab pretty much controlled the fight, you know, from 7 on.
Hey Tim, it looked like at a point, like in about the 6th round, where Manny was kind of having his way with you, and you were suffering the effects of the ankle, that there was almost like a frustration or a resignation in your face. Did you feel that? And at that point, the lowest point, did you feel as if you had already lost the fight?
No, I never feel like I'm losing the fight. You know, honestly, I felt like he caught me with some good shots, you know, in the round. But you know, I always felt strong in there. You know what I mean? One round, I felt he came on real strong, and I was like, damn, he came on strong at the end. I was like, he won that round. But you know, I came out the next round. And you know, I controlled the action again, and you know, he landed a big shot in there. But I mean, one big shot versus a lot of shots that I was landing on him. You know, I felt that I won the round.
They say in Nevada that the judges tend to favor aggressive fighters. That's sort of an old thing that a lot of people say. Did you know that going in? Do you think about that, about what kind of scoring a judge will do, and you try to tailor your fight in some ways around that?
I just try to win. That's it. You know, I go in there. Sometimes I be aggressive. You know, I see him tired or breathing hard. You know, Manny, he gives you opportunities to fire at him. He wants you to open up so he can fire at you. You know, at times I gave him that opportunities, and those are the times where, you know, he landed a big shot on me. But you know, went back to my corner, you know, and just listened to them, just used my jab, just kept moving. In that time, I had to take chances and go forward and try to bang the body a little bit and force the action.
Jim, over here. Hey Tim, great fight. What do you think about the whole rematch situation and the way it was sort of promoted before the fight? And do you think, in light of what's happened, that's good for boxing, because so many people believe that the result of tonight was already in the cards because there was so much talk about the rematch?
You know what? That was all my idea, pretty much, as far as having the rematch. You know, just part of just, you know, promoting the fight, you know, hyping it up, and you know, I felt like I was going to win the fight. You know, regardless of the circumstance, a lot of people feel like I didn't win the fight. So, you know, the rematch is in place. You know, it's there. The date is there, and you know, it's definitely gonna be a different fight in the rematch.
Tim, I know you had mentioned his power, and you try not to stand in front of him too much. But during the fight, you had a lot of long toe-to-toe exchanges, sometimes round after round. Did you ever go back to the corner and the corner tell you, Tim, you got to stop doing that? You're giving him chances, too many chances.
Yeah, but I'm a little knucklehead when it comes to fighting. You know, my corner, they just want me to box all night. But like I said, I know how to win. You know, I came out aggressive at times, and just to force the action and just to make a fight out of it for the fans.
Mentally, was part of you going toe to toe because you were worried about him possibly stealing a round, and you just wanted to answer back?
I just wanted to try to win rounds. That's it. You know, at times I was boxing. You know, I wasn't sure if I won the round or not, so I just had to be aggressive at times and try to just win the round.
Okay, Tim has to go to the hospital, get some x-rays on both ankles. So, Tim, you want to say your final thoughts?
Thanks for everybody for coming out. Thank all the media for coming out. You know, I did my best out there. I'm the new champion. You know, #2 pound for pound, baby. Regardless of, you know, what anybody thinking here. November 10th will be the rematch. So, you know, for all those that say good things don't happen to good people.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it do, baby.
We love you, Tim.
Round of applause for Tim. Joel Diaz, terrific guys. The father Ray, greatest guys to work with. Couldn't have been more cooperative on the promotion. Tim, take care of yourself.
Cameron, go with his take up from the seat.
Rally, baby. We love you, Tim.
Enter code HUB749 for a domain name discount and enter the codes below for other great discounts from GoDaddy.com.